Hi everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and today I wanted to do some more Zen ProQuest practice. So we're kind of almost reaching the point where I'm getting like a little bit burned out on Zen, but not quite yet. We're going to basically kind of power through and see if we can get some good reps in today for the upcoming ProQuest. So there's no real significant changes here today. I think I changed up my blues a little bit to add like Biting Breezes over like Harmony Hunts, but nothing like super significant. The one card I do want to test out again today is Burdens in the Past, which, knowing my luck, is probably not going to matter again today. But I've been seeing a lot more decks pop up that are just very, very react heavy. Think like Verdance and Fang. Like I saw a Fang deck that was running almost like I want to say like 15 or so reacts, and they basically like were able to like get me off that. So I think this Burns of the Past is mostly meant to be kind of a tech card for some of those decks, but it being like a blue 3 block is kind of like low opportunity cost. So if we get the chance to use it, we might end up playing this card. I'm not entirely sure. I kind of want to play around it with the day, mainly because it's fun, but also because it's just like pretty easy to just kind of slot into the deck and kind of does fix the meta. Because I feel like what a lot of decks are doing right now is they're like, to respond to Aurora, they basically have to run reacts because that's the only thing that can kind of like keep up with Aurora's rate. So I think our idea here is that if we can like run this and then like, obviously like make our opponent like IP with reacts, that's like a pretty good turn cycle for us. So I think that's kind of like the idea of this card. And yeah, for the most part, I think the sideboard's like largely the same. I think I added a snag at some point. I'm not sure if I touched on that, but I think snag is actually pretty decent into like all the assassins right now, basically. So I'm definitely kind of a pretty big fan of snag at the moment. And then what else do I have to talk about? So yeah, there've been a lot of comments about misplays and stuff, so I figured I would kind of head those off. So I wanted to actually introduce a new thing to the channel. We have the misplay jar. And every time I will misplay, I will increment the jar, and it's not like actually meant to be anything. It's more so just a shame practice. If I catch my misplay though, I will update the jar as I go, but if I don't catch the misplay, feel free to post it in the comments, and then I will update the misplay jar for tomorrow. So this is going to be a new thing I'm trying. I'm debating where I'm going to put this on the screen, but I think like right here is about fine, depending on like where Fab is like where Talshar is. Yeah, but this is going to be my new invention to hopefully clean up my play a little bit. And yeah, let's go ahead and see if we can get some games. All right, we got a Vynnset here. Let's see if we have a Vynnset board. I don't really think I do. I think the wax offs are fine, maybe. I feel like maybe cutting them for like the key unleash are like probably better. Let's run it like this, I think is okay. Not sure. Very good starting hand though. We do 100 wins into Sacred Art Arsenal Rising Sun. Assuming that they're just gonna banish pass here. So we're running 65 cards, which is quite interesting. I wonder what that means. All right, starting off the Dirge, sure. Curious to see if they're probably just gonna pass. Makes sense. All right, let's go ahead and start with 100 wins. And I think we're just kind of going to set up to ideally Rising Sun. It doesn't play around Cull, which is definitely a little bit scary. But we do always have the Hand Tiger to banish. So maybe it's not that big a deal. All right, gain a resource, and then we can chase the tail. I don't think we're going to be playing around Cull here. It's a little bit awkward too, is the problem. Yeah, so let's go ahead and just grab Chase, send it in. Yeah, I think we were just going to say that they don't have Cull here. Because otherwise we're going to like IP with Tiger, which is not great. They banish or Transcend, it's not the end of the world. Because we can still like make Zen State theoretically if we want to. There's definitely some options of what we can do. Alright, let's close chain, pass back. Unless they got something. Alright, no Cull is good for us. Alright, Deathly Whale into Machinations. Pretty solid. I feel like we're just going to let them hit here. They have Succumb, it's not like the end of the world. Notably, Vynnset decks have been getting a lot more defensive lately. So There is like a lot of merit to just blocking out sometimes. All right, so we have an envelop as well. I could see blocking out here being actually correct. We block 3 of the rune chants. Deathly Whale. So we're obviously taking the first rune chant. So this is coming in for 7. We can block 3 and then 8. And then just like force them off the rune chants. They'll obviously get 2 rune chants on the back end of this, which is not amazing because it means they can just play out widespread again. So I'm debating between whether or not it's correct to block here or correct to just let them have it. So if they succumb, what do they take? They could take Hundruins, for instance, assuming that I don't have like Transcendent Arsenal. I think we're just going to take the full bit of it. I don't think blocking out here does a ton for us. I feel like I'd rather just try to send some damage. And if they succumb, it's not like the end of the world. We can't block it because of overpower, right? So absolutely no reason to. Not that we could either way. So they could even close chain here and play out widespread if they wanted to, but they might not opt for that. Okay, looks like they are going to go for it. Sure. So now they're like fully out of juice. I think that's okay for us. So take 20, which is a pretty decent Vynnset turn, but they did go first and they did get that setup. So once we're past the setup, it gets a lot less bad. All right, banishing a Deathly Delight off the top will set them up for next turn, but we at least get a little blood debt out of them. So I think that's fine. Let's go ahead and Ancestral Harmony. All right, banish a Passover, not the end of the world. And then I assume we're just going to hold on to a blue here. Maybe use Kakara, gets like a 1 cost, like Breed, and then just send it back at them. So yeah, let's go ahead and just pay into Kakara. I think we're going to sandbag the Tiger here a little bit, if we can. Huh. Interesting Face Purgatory block. Sure. Wonder if they're debating like using it this turn or something. Let's grab the Breed. Trying to make a lot of kind of like pay a lot closer attention to my plays because I do have the misplay jar out, incentivizing me to be on my best misplaying behavior. All right, 5-4, 1-6, assuming no call. If it is call, it's not like the end of the world. I feel like most Vynsets are not supposed to be doing defensive call, by the way. From what I understand of my very, very short time playing Vynnset, is that defensive call is like not even that good. But it is something to at least think about, like how weak you are to certain things. I think we're still in pretty decent shape this game. We got Traverse still alive. We're sending some good damage at them. We got them at a pretty significant life total difference. It's going to depend very heavily on what their next kind of hand is here. It seems like it's something pretty good if they're going to keep it like this. All right, Vexing coming in. Sure. So awkward part about this hand is that if we want to transcend and make a Zen state, we have to give it go again, which we obviously don't want. Crap, there's like a lot of things we could do with this hand. How bad is it? Like, I honestly think we should maybe just pay in a rune chance block 6 and then just set up for another turn. Because like we're denying them the Deathly Whale value, and we're also denying them Succumb value, both of which are pretty important. They could always Creepers something in, but maybe we're fine with that. So actually, I think we're going to take a not super greedy line here. Let's go ahead and pay with our stuff here. think we're gonna. I'm calling them on having something that they want to creepers in, like whether it's Succumb or something else. And I'd rather make them work for it than not. Unfortunately, we're not gonna like Cosmic Awakening here, which is like fine. But I will make them do something. Alright, what are we creepersing at? Alright, they did have the Succumb. Definitely kind of smelled it out there. Alright, seems like they're playing it out here. Makes sense. Alright, wonder what they're going to do with their remainder action point here. Alright, Cull is not too bad. You can honestly just like make Zen State pass. Alternatively, we can like banish Chi to Zen or do something like that. I feel like I'm just gonna give them swipe. I think this is okay. Like they still don't have really the setup to be playing out a ton of stuff. And like we still have the Zen State out, so like we've got a lot of time, I feel like. So we can do like 2 and a 5 again. It's like fine. I definitely feel like we smelled out the Succumb there pretty well. Yeah, playing around Succumb is sometimes a little bit difficult. Alright, let's go ahead and grab that Mauling. Alright, send the Mauling in, so they'll probably have to give us at least one card here. Alright, so it seems like they're going to give us Annihilation. Makes sense. Then we are at a pretty decent lead here. Maintaining that is going to be kind of our challenge this game, but we do have just a lot of like blocking equity. So we can like block 5 here. Like I don't think there's like we could actually just send this hand, right? We don't really have to block this, do we? Like they could have another Succumb, but like they Succumb us, do we care about that? We just send 2-3-3 or whatever, or we send like 1-2-2-3, both of which are fine. So they were just supposed to take this. Now if we get to keep the whole hand, it's also pretty nice. So they have Succumb, like I think it's very, very, very fine for us. Like I don't even know what their best take is. I guess they can take. They probably take Incant, maybe. I don't think it really matters a ton what they take because they're at 2. Like, I feel like the most they can take is like we have 8 here if we keep this. We have 3-2-3 there, so that's another 8. And then they take like 100 wins. We do 2-2-4. Yeah, I think it's just 8 either way. All right, gonna go ahead and pass here. All right, seems like no Succumb. That's good. Let's go ahead and start with the Incant. Then we'll force some pretty good blocks from them, I hope. They do have the Malefic out, which means they can play out some like 1-card hands if they just like go for banish or whatever. But we should be like mostly stripping their hand here. I think they get to keep at least 1 card here, but I think we're more than okay with that. It has to be like a 2-cost as well. I go ahead and finish on pouncing. This will now demand another card from them. They have a 2-block at some point. Why did they? For some reason I thought we weren't stripping their hand. But I think it was because of the 2 costs or the 2 attacks, right? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so let's go for levels, do the thing. Gain a resource, activate Zen, get a 1 cost. What do we want to get here? I don't think there's a really great target. I guess we can just buff on levels and it doesn't matter. Let's just grab Chase because it's a breakpoint. We can do full. We can do buff go 2 1 4 1. It's like fine enough. Or we can do 2 1 3 4. That's also pretty good. Should both get there, I imagine. All right, let me think back on this game. Did we actually make him like an egregious misplay this game? I don't think we did. I could be saying that as I'm making a misplay right now, but I don't think we made anything like. I don't think we did anything like severely misplay. Like maybe there was like a micro misplay somewhere that I didn't catch. I think for the most part we played this quite well. They have to have a react here to live. It seems like we basically got there. All right, let's see what this Arsenal. So widespread and Arsenal. No rematch, but let's take a look at their deck real quick. We got Tear Through the Portal, we got Shadow Puppetry. Okay, pretty normal looking deck list there. All right, let's see if we can get another here. All right, so we got a Verdance here. Let's give it a shot. So I'm going first. I think that's. I don't know if it's better for me to go first or them to go first in this matchup. I think I normally just bring the 2 Cosmics as 3 blocks and then the board out the Waxons. I think I run like something like this. Yeah, that seems fine. All right, it's pretty mediocre starting hand. We are incentivized to like Arsenal either the Biting Breeze here. I feel like Biting Breeze is like a much safer Arsenal, so I feel like I'm maybe gonna go for it. Let's get some filtering here. I might not end up playing out the Breed Anger. But like Verdance has a lot of ways to just filter on her own on turn 1. So I don't know. I don't know if they just will shove cards in front of this if we play it. Don't really want to give them a ton of decompose value. I feel like we'll just go to pass here. If they want to play out like a fruits, maybe we do attack in. I think that's fine. Deny a little bit of the decompose value while also getting 3 filtering, I think is okay. This hand's like very, very good, I think. I feel like it feels like there's a lot of tension between whether or not you want to filter in this matchup and whether or not you want to give them like decompose. I feel like that's why I like going second into her, but a lot of the times you'll end up taking like 3 or 4 arcane damage into Verdance, depending on like what build they are. They're on Surgent though. I think it's a lot better to go second just because like very often they're not going to be able to push that much through. If they ever attack you, it's like almost strictly wrong. All right, Ring of Roses getting in play. It makes sense. Obviously, a little bit annoying to see that early, but not the end of the world. I think here we're just going to attack and bite with Biting Breeze, and they're probably going to throw their Blade Reckoner gauntlets in front of it, which is fine. I think we're going to get like a Mauling Key here. We could also finish on levels and like filter the Breed Anger if we draw like a 0 cost off the Rising Sun. All right, we're getting a full card out of them. I'm kind of happy with that. All right, let's go ahead and Rising Sun. Don't think it really matters now. All right, let's go ahead, and I think we're gonna do exactly what I said. Let's go grab some 0 costs and then finish on like levels draw. I think that's well worth it just to like cycle through the deck a little bit faster. So let's play the 100 ones first. I think our plan is to do 100 ones, Tiger Swipe, finish on levels. Seems like a pretty good turn cycle. Yep, that's okay. Right, grab another one of those 100 wins, send it in. So I think in that Vynnset game, we didn't make any super bad misplays, but Tegan, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think we played that for the most part correct. This Verdance game, let's see if we have the opportunity to make a misplay here. It seems like they got a Mind Warp for next turn. Definitely incentivizes me to potentially block out their Surgent now that they showed me that. It's wild how much information you can get by like accidentally clicking on a card to like block with it. Because that is like very valuable information. It means that we can like block Surgeon if we want to. It's probably actually still wrong to block the Surgeon because like they could just Arsenal the Mind Warp and then we'd basically be in the same spot. So I feel like we're actually supposed to like take the Surgeon, make them use it. All right, I guess they're gonna block with it anyways. Probably didn't matter. All right, Rootbound as well. Interesting. I feel like a lot of people do tend to overvalue the on hit of swipe. Most of the time, I feel like it's not worth blocking swipe. But that's coming from the Zen side, obviously. It does sometimes matter quite a bit. All right, very good. Transcending hand. So we're probably just gonna Arsenal. This hand's awkward. We can also go off an Arsenal here and just do Chase Aspect, finish on Mauling. Might be more worth it, honestly. The alternative is we get a 0 cost here, and then we can like play out a bunch of shit and we don't go for Chase. Might be better just so we're like not being inefficient, because I think preserving an Arsenal here does make a bit of sense. We all have one red Hunter-Winds left in the deck, but I think it's still fine. So let's go for that. We'll just send efficient damage. I don't think we need to like overpitch or do anything fancy. Yeah, I think that's fine. Go ahead and just send in, where is it? Get another Hunter-Winds, send that in. Let's do a 1/4, 3, 1/5 or something. Means we're like losing value on a Tiger, but not the end of the world. Do wonder if maybe playing out the Chase the Tailor is correct, but like saving Chase in the deck is like also not terrible. All right, so let's go and play out that aspect. All right, play out the hand Tiger here, and then finish on the Mauling like we said we were gonna do. Yeah, pretty good life advantage here, which is nice. So our 23 to 40, we still got Traverse up, so things I think are going pretty well. Obviously, Verdance does gain quite a bit of life over the course of the game, but if they go for like an attack here, we're actually probably in pretty good shape. Even if it's like Plow. I think we win off a Plow just based on us being able to get a Chi. Then again, like Arsenal like Sound or whatever. I think that I'm more than happy with this. Especially it's only coming in for 2. So yeah, perfect block for Traverse means that we're also just shuffling some Chi back in the deck. And here, I think we're just definitely going to get a Chase. Don't think there's any real reason to get anything else. I think the last hand was like a little bit awkward. Just because like we would have to like pitch inefficiently. I don't think that's like an obvious. Maybe it isn't. Let me think about that. So deal 8. I don't think it's better. That could be like 1 or 2 more damage or something. But I still feel like leaving Chase in the deck, especially with like other threats, is like kind of fine. I don't think it's that much more damage, if any. And we also just like keep Chase in the deck, so I think that's like pretty reasonable. All right, go ahead and just send in some damage. Fortunately, they have the seeds here, but it's not going to matter too much. We should be able to chew through most of it. Very fortunate that they're not super online for Decompose as well. Definitely feels like they're a little bit slow on the draw here, and we've been drawing pretty hot. Get to do 3/4/4, finish on or end on Arsenal Sound. Now we're running Weakest Link, so this seems like a little bit more attack action heavy version of Verdance. I don't know if that version's necessarily good right now. Maybe it's like pretty decent like Prism, because you just have more poppers. But the Prism matchup feels like so bad as Verdance. It's like really bad. All right, we'll go ahead and pass back. 30-point life lead is nothing to scoff at here. I think we've been playing pretty tight up until this point. All right, Weakest Link is not a huge deal here. So gain a little bit of life padding. Could honestly see it being correct to give up like Kasaya and Shuko, but it does feel a little bit suspect. I feel like we're just going to take the opportunity to block out here and then just send 2 into 5. and then just Arsenal Sacred Art for a better turn. I don't think like mono transcending Sacred Art is necessarily like super high value. It's kind of like bad a lot of times to just like I do it if I have to, like to get the first transcend card in a deck, but a lot of times it's like not very efficient to do so. Like we do like 0 for 4 into 5 there, and like we get 2 extra damage or whatever, but like then we lose out on Arsenal. Just like kind of bad. Rather just do 2 into 5, have a good Arsenal for next turn, hoping that we can, you know, obviously get the necessary blues to play out the Sacred Art. Oh, disappeared. Okay, it's back. All right, so they got a tree in hand. Definitely a pretty scary threat, but let's see what they got coming. All right, so they got tree, cadaverous, heartbeats, felling. So most likely it's just going to be a felling turn, if I had to guess. Seems like a good block 5 opportunity for, and then just play felling. All right, interesting. They're not going to go for that. Okay, just want to probably undo the block just so they can block a little bit more. Makes sense. All right, yep, block 5 seems pretty good to me. And then they're gonna get the full pump on felling, which is not like the scariest thing in the world. We're still at 40, so like we're doing pretty all right. And his hand's like bonkers, so we probably just win. Yeah, we just bottom the key unleashed here, and then we take 8, go to 32, and then unfortunately we don't get to 40-0, but very rarely in Flesh and Blood do you ever get to 40-0 unless you're an illusionist player. Right, go ahead and bottom that, take 8. Can't remember the last time I 40-0'd someone. I feel like that just doesn't happen in Fab a lot, especially with like Zen. Like he's not a deck that can just like kill you outright. All right, let's do draw go. I think I might be spacing Transcends out this turn. It depends what we draw. Could also just like get a chase here and then just play it out anyways. That's like kind of reasonable. All right, what are we pluming for? All right, we're getting a Felling of the Crown back. That's a-okay with me. I don't think you're going to get the opportunity to really cast it there. All right, so we're going to get the full mode on levels, do draw buff, see what we're drawing to. All right, we draw into Tiger Forming Can't. Does that change our play at all? So you have another Felling in hand. If we Sacred Art off this, we Arsenal the Incants. We do 1, 4, 1, 4, 5. We do 1, 4, 6, which should take them off of a decent number of cards. Does that take them off all cards, though? It probably doesn't with the Sigil draw there. So let me think this through. They have Sacred Art, or we Sacred Art off this. We gain the 1 resource. We Kakara, we can turn into an additional 3 damage. So that's 3 plus 1 plus 4 plus... I'm counting this right. It's 4. It's 3 plus 1 plus another 1 plus another 1. I think that forces a card out of hand. They have 3 armor. I don't know if it forces a card out of hand, but it's probably like close enough. I'm not gonna probably sit here and count. If this was like a real game, I'd probably count. But I think it's probably still worth it to pressure life total here. So let's go ahead and pitch to Kakara. We'll just get that extra 3 value. I'm wondering. If we don't kill here, it might not be correct. Because then we don't get chi, or like we have to like IP with chi. Huh. I mean, that is maybe a decision that I would like take a little bit more time to think on if I wasn't like trying to record a game. But I think this still pressures lethal-ish. So do 5. All right, good enough. They could have blocked with Barkskin and then blocked that, or they go to 1 exactly. So I was basically right. I think I was off by exactly 1 that we don't like kill them outright. But for the most part, like we kind of get there. So I guess like it's not even that bad. Like we could have just like Arsenal Tiger and then like Chi or whatever. I don't know. There's a bunch of different things. I don't think I'm gonna count that as like a real misplay because I think that that's something that would probably take a little bit more time to like think about through a game. But yeah, I think we played that pretty good. Okay, let's see if we can get one more here. All right, we got an Enigma. Right. Let's see if we have an Enigma board. I'll give them a good luck, have fun. They're putting us on first, which is, I think, generally correct. Let's see how we board. So I think I normally leave the cosmics out. I think I normally will bring in like one cosmic, although I don't really think it's super necessary. I think for the most part, you can just run the same 60. And it's like kind of fine. I think we'll just run it like this. Again, I don't think there's like a super big draw to bringing the cosmic, but we will bring in the burdens, which is probably going to be pretty spicy here. Yeah, let's run it like this. See how it goes. All right, so we're probably just going to get some filtering here. I think we're arsenaling incants. It's pretty good arsenal target, honestly. Like incant as a starter a decent amount of time. All right, spectral manifestations, fine block there. I think we'll just go ahead and get max filtering here. If they play out an aura or whatever end of turn, it's not the end of the world for us, I feel like. All right, Fate is also a-okay. So they're going to bottom that card. Very interesting. And then finish on the bouncing key. All right, shelter as well. Pretty good. So we at least get 4 filtering here, which is good. They presumably don't get very much at all. They get 3 filtering, which is, I guess, decent. Okay, what do we have with this hand? So this is a hand that, depending on what they do... All right, so unfortunately, we're not going to be able to, like, do what I was thinking. We could actually, like, play Chase the Tail there. Ooh, that all you got is also good information. So what's our play this turn? So they don't have a waxing... Or, oh, they didn't have an... Oh, they have an aura out, so they... they haven't pitched a blue card. That's why. For some reason, I thought it didn't get a counter if you already have an aura out, and the ponder was counting as an aura, but I don't think that's how that works. So I feel like the play here is to just like... There's a couple plays here. We can... So we don't want to keep an arsenal, right? So we might as well just send like levels into CNC. Block chase is the line I'm seeing, but we lose out on a chase, which isn't like not ideal in the grand scheme of things. Could also lose out on levels and just do Kakara, which is basically like similar amount of damage. I guess we block a Harmony instead. So I think what I'm doing is Kakara into CNC and preserve chases in the deck. I think that makes a bit of sense. All right, go ahead and start by pitching levels. It's not super pressing to kill the Waxing Spectre, especially without a counter on it. Like, it's not that threatening right now. And getting a Ponder token to get a random card in Arsenal is generally quite good for Zen. All right, so they're going to let that die, and then we get CNC value, which is quite nice. Glad they didn't get the opportunity to use an Arsenal there. So that Dissolve was, like, not even that great. It was, like, fine, but I'd almost rather have a Ponder token than an Incant in Arsenal, I feel like. All right, seems like they're maybe here just trying to filter for some blocking cards. Because I imagine what their hand is like one or more reacts, and then 1 or 2 chi at this point. So they can to get 2 3 blocks, they get to like preserve Arsenal or whatever. All right, maybe not. Could also be going for a Mirror Guy if they have it. All right, see what that Arsenal is. All right, making that after the fact makes sense. So Restless Arsenal, okay. So that's not even, interesting. I'm wondering why they went for it there. I guess maybe to just like move the counter onto Restless. That kind of makes sense. Seems pretty good to me. 100 wins is a decent Arsenal. All right, still no Transcend is concerning, but not the end of the world. Still got time, I feel like. As long as they don't hit me with like... Actually, Phantasmaclasm might even be like kind of okay here, depending on like what they send afterwards. All right, so we got 2 and a 3, and then maybe like a Weakest Link if they're playing at like maximum efficiency here. Like that's probably the scariest turn they can have. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take this. Our hand is like plays pretty efficiently, so we're just gonna do like 3 3 2 1 5 or whatever. And we can like maybe Arsenal levels for the hope that we hit Transcend eventually. All right, if it's just Spectral, we don't care. One thing to note, all right, so I was actually going to say we do have to be careful about Waves of Reality, which I've seen a little bit of an uptick in recently. But apparently they're going to just pre-flip for Hold, which does make sense as well. So you also have the opportunity to like dump hand if we really need to clear these auras, but I don't think it's like super pressing, honestly. Let's start with the 2 and see what they do. Because we might be able to get them to block efficiently if we start with our lower cost attacks, maybe. Or lower attack value attacks. Seems like they're maybe just going to give up on Restless here, which does make sense. All right, then we'll do 3/3, 1/5, like we said earlier. All right, I'm on the lookout for any misplays because I don't think we've done anything super wrong yet. Like maybe like a half a misplay at the end of that Verdance game or whatever. But that was mostly me being kind of in a rush to just get a recording. I think maybe that's a flaw in the misplay jar system is that in general, I tend to I think play a little bit worse than I do in paper just because I like recording pressure is like you have to like you have to like talk about like what you're doing as well as like also think through your plays. All right, it seems like May double transcending here makes sense. Sure. So another 2 chi in hand. What does that mean? Hopefully not Mirror Guy. But if it's Mirror Guy, it's probably not the end of the world. Well, I guess we'll get the chance to see, right? All right, not Mirror Guy is Weakest Link. Good info. So I assume their turn is just going to be like Spectral Shield, attack Weakest Link. Maybe we're actually happy with not drawing Chi, but that information was actually quite valuable. Definitely a um, pretty solid sound the alarm there because now we know that we have to block. So I guess the question is here, like, how do we want to block this? Obviously, like, so I see 2 separate blocks here. We can either block 6 like this and then just send Weakest Link at them. Alternative is that we can levels Transcend, which is maybe safer, and then just get like Mauling Key and then Arsenal Tiger. I feel like I like that play better. Because like guaranteeing Transcend flowing through the deck is quite important. And I'd rather not just like not draw Transcend. All right, so let's go ahead and levels, pass over. I think we're going to target equipment here because there's actually a benefit to us leaving reacts in graveyard for the burdens. Theoretically, also could have targeted a shelter if we wanted to. I think we'll just do 4 into 5 here. All right, do Gogan. Or sorry, that was passive, right? That was a green. So 3 into 5 rather. Still pretty decent. 3 into 5 that puts Chi in the deck and then also mixes an extra Tiger. Not like crazy efficient numbers wise, but value wise, pretty okay. Getting the first Chi is always just very important, especially in this matchup where like if they slam a Mirror Guy, you need to kill it like basically on the spot, like we're probably gonna have to do here. And Arsenal Tiger will hopefully kind of help us with that. It's almost certainly like Mirror Guy plus maybe just Arsenal Reactor or whatever. It seems like they're gonna start with Spectral Shield, makes sense. Our hand can actually kind of kill a Mirror Guy without fetching Chi, but we should maybe do it just in case it can't. Hmm. So what happens if we don't kill Mirror Guy here? Is it the end of the world? We could also make our Pouncing Paws live if we wanted to deal with that. I feel like maybe we should just not get greedy here and just guarantee that this thing is dying. Could also go for a double chase. That'll probably get the job done. I don't feel like this traverse is necessary. That's kind of like my concern with it. If they have another dissolve and they put the tiger, do we care about that? Because we still have pouncing paws. I guess not. I think this is fine. Let's just make sure the mirror guy dies. I think that's reasonable. Because that's basically their win con, right? Like, I don't think there's really a reason to like hold on to traverse for another turn. Right, that all we got, definitely annoying. But not even that bad, because means they're not getting value out of quick dodge. Right, Restless coming in, so maybe just going to remove the counter from the shield and then prevent a little bit of damage. So we still have the opportunity to do double chase here if we want to. I think we also have that key unleash still in this configuration, right? Let me check my Enigma board. I assume, yeah, it should be still in there, so we can get that as well. All right, so Mirror Guy has eaten the dust. That is good. Right, so then follow up the Tiger. Still debating whether or not we want to get key unleashed here. I think it's probably still worth it. And then we get the Arsenal Tiger here, which is also quite nice. I think we won't go for the chase, and we'll just try to like redraw into chi. I think that's a reasonable strategy at this point. All right, it seems like they didn't get much value out of their quick dodge there, and they also get to draw that card. That's fine. So I think it's fine. We cleared Mirror Guy, which is important, and we're redrawing into chi, which is also quite nice. All right, Enigma, Chimera. Very okay with this. No reason to block. I think our plan is to do like 100 wins. Oh, they're going to give it go again, sure. That's pretty good. It's like 3-card 8, but also mix 1 on the back, so it's like 3-card 9, at least. Pretty solid. I think, what is our plan here? We obviously start with 100 wins, and I think we're going to drop it. Wind Chakra, Tiger, Tiger Swipe, get Chase. Yeah, that seems good. Don't look a Transcendent Horse in the mouth, as I always say. All right, taking 1, we'll go ahead and drop here. Get resource, and then Wind Chakra now before we start doing our chase stuff. Thought this episode was going to be a lot more interesting because I thought there were going to be more misplays, like objective, like super bad misplays. But I think that the misplay jar is having the intended effect of preventing me from misplaying. At least I don't think there's anything that's like super bad. There's maybe some like micro stuff where it's like maybe contextually better to block or whatever. But like, I think for the most part, like playing all right. I think. We've been reading our cards. Everything I think is pretty okay. All right, go ahead and just pass back. Ooh, that's a nice hand. All right, this maybe not even an opportunity to misplay this game, just based on how well we've been drawing. All right, gonna do go again. Makes sense. We can theoretically still block with pouncing paws, but I still feel like I am very like cautious about using my pouncing paws, and like having preserving this situation where you can block 3 and then block with another card on like the weakest link or whatever is like very good to me. I guess the question is like, how do we efficiently do this? Can Wind Chakra do this? His hand's so good that I like want to try to like abuse it somehow, but I don't know if there's like a really clear way to do that. So what is the play? We can like Wind Chakra Homage, gain a resource. Kakara, Pitch Chi, levels, Path. I think that kind of works, right? We do this, no, but then we have to do that. Could also just not gain the resource. Sorry, actually, let me revert this. Let's do. We'll just space out our transcend cards. I think it's fine. Let's just guarantee we're transcending over multiple turns. I think there's maybe a way to like sequence this so we can like use the wind chakra or whatever. But I don't want to think too hard. I think we'll just grab Mauling here and then just draw go, see what we get. Or draw a buff, rather. Alright, draw another chi. That's fine. I wonder if there's anything better we could have done here. Like, maybe we're supposed to hold on to the wind chakra and, like, finish on levels. I feel like I'm tempted to label this as a misplay. But I do think it maybe is, like, a misplay because we drew chi. Maybe there's something better we could have done there. I don't know. I feel like starting with levels is good because it gives us information about, like, what we can play on our hand. I don't think it's, like, necessarily a strict misplay, but it definitely like feels bad in hindsight kind of thing, which is not really a misplay, I feel like. All right, go Nurse Only Homage. All right, which chi would you like to take? Be my guest. I feel like Breed Anger is actually like the correct choice on this hand. Wow, that's actually kind of insane. So yeah, Phantasmaclasm deals a lot of damage. That it does. So this is coming in for 8. Jesus. Okay. I guess I think now is probably the opportunity to pop Pouncing Paws. And then I feel like even giving up Kasaya here is like maybe okay as well. I feel like we just need to like convert our hand into some damage. It's a very unfortunate hand though. Alright, we still have that one chase left at least. So maybe I think that's gonna be our play here. But yeah, that is actually kind of disgusting. Sure. Alright, so gonna be quick dodge here. That's fine. Now we're not even really incentivized to like send a chase the tail. But we'll see what we get. So I think is it breed now? It might be breed because like the chase pump doesn't matter as much. I think that's maybe correct. God, that Phantasmaplasm was like so good. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like bad things are happening to me, but it's not necessarily a misplay. I almost so I'm not halfway tempted to just like play this grain to just get an extra damage here. I feel like that's wrong, especially with like double transcend. All right, go ahead and use up the tiger here. So they get a 3-card Enigma hand. Could still be scary. But double transcend does do a lot of work. So maybe we're still okay with this. We definitely could have cashed this in for 1 damage, but guaranteeing the transcend is quite nice. All right, what is this going to be? All right, go again, 2 floating. I don't think there's any way we die here, right? Not off of this. They don't have any attack reacts or anything, so should be fine. Dying Grain kills us, so we can like double block here. Oh, another Clasm. Oh, that could be really bad. All right, draw Popper 1 time. 1 time. We have 4 in the deck, I think, at this point. Ooh, Phantasmaclasm back to back is definitely kind of brutal. All right, I think we can maybe just barely squeeze this out here. So we can block like this. Then we can do Homage, or we can like do Kakara, Grain Homage, Transcend, do that. And then we can play Chase, and they should basically be stripped of cards. Actually, it might be better here to, instead of using Shuko, we actually just so what I'm thinking is actually the play is we Pouncing Paws, Homage Grain, do that, and then we block 8 here. That way we're not being kind of inefficient, I feel like. I think that's correct to hold on to Shuko. But yeah, back-to-back Phantasmaclasm is actually kind of brutal. All right, now's the opportunity to pop our Bouncy Plus, so I'm kind of glad we actually saved it up in this point. So I think if there's a misplay this game, it's getting hit by Phantasmaclasm and it being really good both times. All right, so let's go ahead and double transcend here, get our 1 damage in. Then we get to get our... We still have a chase, right? Not just blind. All right, I think we do have a chase. Go ahead and grab that last chase. And then we get to do 4, 2, 5. Should basically get the job done. They can have React here, but they still need to give us, I think, 2 cards. I guess they can have like another React and then Tunic. But then they only keep 1 card, so maybe it's like fine. It's definitely been a very tight Enigma game. All right, last 2 cards out of them. Very good. So if we can draw well this next hand, I think we got it in the bag. Okay, yep, seems like a pretty good draw here. So let's go ahead and grab just a swipe here, I think is fine. And then we're probably just going to pitch to Kakara. 2, 1, 5, send in 6. Should get the job. Should get there. All right, I think we played that pretty tight. I'm wondering if there's any opportunity for improvement there. I feel like if you can get your opponent to agree to like a gentleman's agreement to not Phantasmaclasm, like put Phantasmaclasm in the deck, that's maybe the only misplay here. Trying to think if there's anything else. All right, seems like they stuck with Chi and CNC, so got there in the end. Okay, so there were 3 games that we played today. I didn't see any glaringly obvious misplays, but here's what I'm defining as a misplay. It's anything that I basically could have got 1 more point of damage, or I could have, or I did something like egregiously wrong, like at a macro scale. Like I think those are what I'm kind of constituting as misplays. What I'm not constituting as misplays is like me failing to count, which is something that I'd be able to do in like a normal game of Fab, but because I'm under the Talus Returner, I feel like I'm kind of like more pressured to do. So anything that's like contextual or like something that is just kind of like a result of me rushing, I don't think is like as bad of a misplay. But yeah, if you see any misplays, let me know. We will update the jar as we go. And yeah, that's going to be the list for today. So we got some pretty decent games into like Vynnset, Verdance, and Enigma at the end, which I think are like pretty well represented decks, honestly. Like they're actually kind of a lot of Vynnsets in Colorado from what I understand. So definitely one of the kind of more popular heroes, at least probably going into the PQ. So that's definitely a matchup that I've wanted to practice just a little bit. Yeah, but the deck seems solid. Burdens of the Past, obviously, as a one-of, is not doing anything. I think there's just not, like, what I really want is, like, Backstab, right? Like, how good would Backstab be if it was, like, a card that you could run in Zen? Like, I feel like they need more cards that have almost that clause on it, because I feel like that effect is just really solid, and, like, I don't think Burdens of the Past is necessarily, like, a very good replacement for that effect. It's, like, decent sometimes, but I feel like it's just not enough. But it is definitely like very spicy into like some of the more like D-React heavy decks. Like I think this into Fang and Florian and Verdance, like I think those heroes definitely do suffer from like a lot of D-Reacts in their deck just to deal with Aurora. So I think if you're running like a one of Burdens, it could definitely be like quite good. But I think we're gonna wrap it up on there for today. So thank you all for watching, and if you saw any misplays, let me know. And yeah, see you all next time. And a special thank you to all the folks who decided it would be a good idea to give us $2 on Patreon. We really appreciate the support, but it's obviously never required.